Updated the 15th of May 2018, 11:45 Australian Eastern Standard Time. The National Police Chief Tito Karnavian said his forces have conducted 13 raids on terror suspects in recent days, shooting 4 dead and capturing 9. But he wants more firepower, urging closer cooperation with the military. Coordinated suicide bombings on 3 churches by one family on Sunday, followed on Monday by a suicide attack by another family on police headquarters in Surabaya, have horrified Indonesians who typically see their Muslim-majority country as diverse and tolerant. President Joko Widodo supports the move to give the military powers to independently deal with terror-related cases on home soil. He wants legislation passed within weeks. But human rights groups fear it could lead to gross human rights abuses. Police have long resisted a greater role for the military in terrorism cases, but the violence of the past week has given pause for thought. Police, terrorists and bystanders have been killed and injured on a scale not seen in the country for years. The attacks on Sunday that targeted 3 churches, killing 12 worshippers, were carried out by a couple and their 4 children. The father dropped his wife and 2 girls aged 12 and 8 at one church wearing suicide vests, before driving a car packed with explosives to another, and blowing it up. At another church across town, the couple's 2 sons, aged 17 and 15, rode an explosive-laden motor scooter into a crowd and set it off. President Widodo condemned the attacks as barbaric and beyond humanity. Yesterday, another family of 5 carried out a suicide attack on a Surabaya police station that injured 6 civilians and 4 police officers. 4 of the perpetrators were killed, leaving an 8-year-old girl as the family's only survivor, an ordinary person living in a normal neighborhood. Officer Karnavian said the church bombers and the police headquarters attackers were friends, as were another family, 3 members of which died when homemade bombs exploded in their apartment on Sunday night. Neighbors of Tito, Puji Kuswati and their 4 children, the family responsible for Sunday's suicide attacks, said there were no signs members of the family were planning the acts of violence. What they described to the ABC was a family they regarded as very normal, recalling how the children played with their own kids in the street, and how they rode bicycles together regularly. Mr. Tito was kind, familiar to his neighbors, socially active, an ordinary person living in a normal neighborhood. Neighbor Binoan Widiarto told the ABC, his children often played in front of our house, playing soccer, riding bikes, picking flowers. Wraith Yunantos, who lives 2 houses from the family, said they were always welcoming to her, a minority Christian. She said she went shopping with Ms. Kuswati at the local market and they often exchanged different types of food and fruit. It's difficult for us to accept how they can commit such a barbaric act against Christians, Ms. Yunanto said. The couple visited me when I gave birth and when my children were sick. She said she last saw members of the family when the daughters were riding bicycles with other children in front of their house on Saturday afternoon, the day before the bombings. The eldest son, she said, was seen coming home from school activities wearing a colorful batik shirt that's symbolic of diversity in Indonesia, a country of more than 260 million with dozens of ethnic groups and languages. Father, sister, parents shocked and hurt by sadistic act. Andri Imiarthi, Mr. Oeperiarto's younger sister, was racked with grief on Monday and said her elderly parents were in a state of shock. What he has done has hurt us so deeply, she said as tears flowed down her cheeks. What thoughts have influenced him? I do not understand. I do not know what changed my good brother to be so sadistic. Ms. Imiarthi said she was very angry when she first heard about the church attacks and that children had been used to carry them out. I fainted when my sister, Dina, told me that the attack was done by our own brother, she said. The last time she met her brother and his family was during Ramadan in 2017. She said their lives were busy and they only met about once a year and didn't talk about religion. Police initially said the family went to Syria to join the Islamic State group, but later retracted that statement. Mr. Oepriarto, they said, was the leader of the Surabaya cell of Jamaah Anshoradallah, an Indonesian network of extremist groups that is affiliated with IS. The family's next-door neighbor, Abi Akbar, said in retrospect, one thing was different at dawn prayers on Sunday. Instead of customarily kissing their father's hand after prayers, the boys and father hugged for a long time. They hugged like they were going to be separated, Mr. Akbar said. But at that time, we were not suspicious of anything because they are a family that is well known and normal. Just a few hours later, Mr. Oepriarto and his family and 12 other people were dead. Enzi Tapigani, a 21-year-old university student who lived near the family, described Mr. Oepriarto as a friendly and nice guy. We really didn't see it coming, he said. ABC, AP, Reuters.